Okay, welcome to all our viewers. We've just had round 14, Keith, and coming up for round 15. We're going to get those rounds right after the stuff up 2 weeks ago.
After the stuff up by you, but I thought you might have called this round 15 and a half.
Look, before we move on to round 15, because we've only got the 2 games, I think we should do a bit of a review. Last Saturday, Keith and I hopped in the car and we drove up to see the first half of the Maffra-Tarrolgan game, and then followed up with the second half of the Maui versus Wonthaggi. So we just have a bit of a chat about the Tarrolgan and Maffra game, mate.
Well, Tarrolgan were parked too good while we were there.
Yeah.
End results a bit different, but and it also looked with the Maui game. Maui might come through there, but by the time we got down the end of the game, it was the opposite way round too. Yeah, interesting results, interesting footy as it's been all year.
Well, it's quite interesting the fact that we sat with some Maffra people, and in the first half Maffra looked slow. Jack Tatterson wasn't doing much. There was even a comment made that Jack was struggling.
Well, he did actually get 2 of their first 3 goals.
Yes, but he
wasn't struggling that hard.
But
he was struggling a bit more.
But the word was that, you know, he'd been struggling, and then at half time you and I left, and we thought, you know, to be honest, we thought we'd seen the end of an era. We spoke about the fact that Maffra were on a downward slide. Then all of a sudden the scores came through at 3/4 time. There was still a fair amount in it, and then when the final score came through, the Maffra boys had got up, they'd run over the top of Tarrolgan, and young Jack had kicked 7 big ones in the last quarter.
Yeah, well, it's football. It doesn't happen very often. It's football. Anything happens. You know, Gippsland League this year. Well, yeah.
It's a magnificent league, isn't it?
Well,
it's going very well.
I said to you last week, it's a waste of time trying to tip winners because it's too hard.
And then the Wonthaggi Power Maui game, that was an interesting one, because at half time there was only a goal in it. Wonthaggi came out and I think they kicked 2 goals 8 in the third, but still there was only a couple of goals in it still. But then in the last quarter they slammed on 8 straight and sort of buried the Lions.
Yeah, well, you know, they've played a great last quarter, Wonthaggi. They really put good football together, and you know, the reason they're perhaps a bit more accurate in the last quarter than the third quarter was that they did bring the ball in a lot better, and I was really disappointed in Murray's second half that we saw. I sort of got a lot of respect for their side, and they played some good football, and beaten Tarrolgan and Maffra the previous 2 weeks, and whether that took a lot out of them and they just died away, I'm not sure, but they had a lot to play for, and I was a bit disappointed that last half.
And then on the next day, Leongatha had a good win over Maul, and again in the last quarter they kicked 2 goals 12, 14 shots. Obviously had full control of that game, and then on the Sunday we backed up with another game of football. The Netball Victoria game of the month was held at Druin. Druin hosted Warrigal, local derby, and I think we saw the Druin ground in its worst condition, didn't we?
Druin ground like it was when I was a kid. But we had a second Sunday game too, which was Sale and Bairnsdale, which was a very important game, and yeah, Sale did enough there to come out winning reasonably comfortable. Makes it a hard run home for Bairnsdale. They do have a hard run home. It's going to be a big effort for them to make the final.
Well, now we notice here Sale are on top with 40 points. We then have Tarrolgan and Druin on 38, and there's less than 1% separating them. 6 points behind is Wonthaggi. Then Leongatha have sneaked in at 28 with Maffra on 28 at 6th, and then 7 and 8th is Maui and Bairnsdale, only half a game again, so it's still a very tight level.
Yeah, so really the only side that's safe at the moment is Sale.
Yes, by the looks of it. Okay, we'll move on to this week. We've got a split round. It's obviously an opportunity for players to have a week off. and recover. You know, it's been a hard year for most players, and I know for a fact that players are looking to have a week off. The unlucky ones playing this week, but they'll get the week off after. We have the first game on Saturday, Wonthaggi versus Traralgon. Another rip snorter of a game.
The two games this week, four teams that are really in that in the fight. Traralgon, you know, they've just got to come back. They've lost two of their last three games by from winning positions.
Yeah.
They've been in command of games and lost them against Moe and again at the weekend against Mafra. So they've got obviously some things to work on. They've got some good players to come in. The matches at Wonthaggi, gee, I don't know. It's terrific contest. I think you'll probably tell us more about Wonthaggi than it'll tell us about Traralgon.
Yeah.
Wonthaggi had a few losses in a row after looking good, and home ground, that'll be a really good test for them to see, just to see how good they are. They sort of have that sniff about them that they could be a really good side, yeah, and a premiership contender. You know, the weekend will tell. I don't know how the game will go. I just have that sneaking suspicion that Traralgon will get up. I think the ground will suit them at Wonthaggi. We've got some good players to come in. I think blokes like McKenna, he's a champion. A couple of others who...
I think Cummings was out. Cummings was out. He'll come in.
Coach of last year.
Yeah,
Steve Hazelman, a good player who struggles with his knee, and he's got to nurse it a bit, but he comes back in, he does know where the ball is, and he does know what to do when he gets it.
Yeah, and with the closeness of the ladder, if Wonthaggi lose, it really puts them in a hot spot. If Traralgon win, it cements their spot up top. So it's a big
massive game, and the same with the other game on Sunday.
I'll go for Wonthaggi on that one.
Yeah, good on you.
So Bairnsdale and Mafra, another big one. Bairnsdale need to win to keep in touch.
So does Mafra.
And Mafra need to win to get in.
Yeah.
So it's a huge game.
Yeah, huge game. I think, like Mafra don't have the travel problem going to Bairnsdale, quite a few other clubs do. It's a good day, sure, to get a big crowd. But, I reckon it might just be the game that tosses Mafra out.
That tosses them out, yeah. Actually, I'll go with Mafra. I believe Mafra is on the way back. Hayden Burgill had his first senior game. He'll be good for the run. He'll need it. Now, the one thing I just need to know is Johnny Olven paid that bet yet?
No.
He hasn't?
No.
Well, Johnny, I don't know if you're on computers yet, mate. I know you read all the newspapers, but I think it's about time you paid that two-pot bet. You'll be known as a welcher if you don't. So anyway, we've got 3 games the following week, but that's it for round 15 coming up. 2 huge games for the league, and thank you all.
Thank you.